found that out last time. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Teach Me Tuesday. I'm going to put a quick message over here in case you're seeing our lips move and our heads moving, but you can't hear us, just to make sure. So if you are on and you see the chat area, if you can let us know that you can see and hear us before we get started. Okay, I'm just going to wait a quick moment here as we make sure that the sound and the video is coming through for everybody. And while we're waiting for that, I want to let you know that sometimes because of the nature of the internet, you're going to hear and see something about 5 seconds after we've actually said it. And so sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. Know that just happens. And the other housekeeping thing is occasionally one of us might lose internet. And so if that happens, we're just going to keep rolling and we'll get back in as soon as possible. So let us know that you can hear and see us. Yeah, I'm getting a little echo myself, Melanie, and I'm going to mute myself in just a moment. So that'll go away. I know Dawn's not getting that, but for some reason my system seems to be doing that today. So let me get us rolling here. This is Teach Me Tuesday. I am Vicki Ibaugh, your host. And I'm so excited to have this woman beside me here, Dawn Meyer, sharing today. So I met Dawn a few years ago at a women's prosperity event, and I've been impressed with her ever since. She's an inspirational speaker, a facilitator, an energy healer, best-selling author. She's a radio show host, and she's a former space shuttle engineer. So from rocket scientist to energy healing, it's all really still about the universe. And she is known as the rocket scientist energy healer. And today I am so excited to have her here as the founder of Purple Dawn and the owner of the healing center called the Awareness Center. And she's going to share with us more about self-care and about how to make sure that we're on our own list. So Dawn, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself. And I'll be watching the chat room. So if you have any questions, pop them in there and I'll relay them to Dawn. So Dawn, right. I'm going to turn it over to you, sweetie.
Well, thank you so much, Vicki. Yes, Vicki and I met a few years ago, as she said, and she's been active in Women's Prosperity Network and is the chapter president over in Orlando. And so we've just kept in touch, and I'm very honored to be on her show today. So today I'm going to be talking about living your life for you. And for some people that may seem like a very foreign concept, and I understand that totally. So I would like to give you a few tips on actually reclaiming your life for you and being able to take care of you and just understand that you're important because you are. So often we don't get that. We think that it's not true, but we really are. You're really important. So I'm going to go ahead and get the screen going here. Cool. And as she said, I am the owner of Purple Dawn. So you will notice a little bit of purple in my slide, surprisingly, but there you go. So living your life for you, creating a life that nurtures you. So when I start talking about living your life for you, a lot of people don't always get what that means. How would you not live your life for you? Well, that's the whole point. I would like you to be able to live your life for you. So that means reclaiming that time for you, reclaiming some of that time that you're spending on everybody else for you, so that you can start nurturing you and your body. A lot of times that's where the neglect starts, is with you and your body. I would like you to consider changing your relationship and mindset when it comes to serving others. Start releasing the burdens that you're carrying for everybody else. Even if you don't think that you're doing that, a lot of times you really are. You're carrying things for other people, and that really takes a toll on you. And free your energy to create a life of more joy and ease, because that's what it's all about, so that you can start enjoying your life again. Because maybe you forgot how to do that, but now is the time for you to reclaim it. So when I ask you, are you living your life for you? Do you say, oh, of course I live my life for me. Who else would I live it for? Or are you more like this poor woman? Do you say, I have to live my life for my family? Or I have to live for my job or for my business? Or I have to live for whoever or whatever? What is it that makes you think that you have to live your life only for those other people and those other things and those other entities, whether it's job, business, family, whatever? So I'd like you to really sit there and think about it and ask yourself, are any of those really true? Do you really have to live your life for those other people or for those other things, for those other causes? Maybe it's, a charity or something else. Do you really have to live your life for them? Is that what is actually required for you to do in life? And then think about, what is that creating in your life? What is that creating for you, for your body, maybe for the rest of your family, if you're taking care of one exclusively rather than the others? Or what does it mean for just your life in general? So often we find that we're not getting that balance that we really would like to have in life because we're spending so much time in other areas taking care of other people. So again, when I ask, are you living your life for you? You can ask yourself, who am I really living my life for? And then ask, am I actually really willing to live my life for me? Because it may be uncomfortable for you at first. It may require changes that you've got to think about, that you've got to be willing to make. So you have to think about it. Am I really willing to start making those changes and start living my life for me? Because when you're living on everybody else's terms, you're living by everybody else's desires. You're trying to fulfill everything that they desire. You're trying to fulfill their schedules, keep their schedules, make sure that they're everywhere on time, that they get their things done on time. How often do you spend trying to make sure your kids get all their homework done on time? And you're living by their rules rather than yours. Your life is dependent upon them and what they would like to have. So you're trying to make everybody else happy. And what that normally means is that no one is really happy. That's so true. Can you really make anybody else happy if you're not happy? So often we try to, and we make ourselves believe that we can make them happy, but they're not really happy. Are you more like this poor woman when you're trying to make everybody else happy? It's creating a lot of stress for you because it's always, well, what do they need? What do they want? Where am I trying? Where am I not doing what they need me to do in order to make successful what they're trying to accomplish? And that creates a lot of judgment for you because where are you falling short in making things work for them? Where are you falling short in keeping that balance that you think that you can achieve by living their life and yours at the same time? How much judgment are you creating about you? And how much judgment are you taking on from everybody else, or even making up in your head about what they think of you? Because so often we do that. We make up those stories about, oh, they think I'm not fulfilling this, or I'm not being that for them, I'm not there for them, I'm not, all those stories that you tell yourself. How much judgment are you creating of you? And again, now they're always right and you're always wrong. Because if you fall short in some area, that makes you wrong. Because they were right to expect that of you because you said that you would be there for them and do that for them. And is that really where you'd like to be living your life? Again, more judgment, more stress. So when you're living your life on everybody else's terms, are you like this poor guy where he's got everything going on through his head all the time with parents and sports and kids and job and spouse and, fitness and fun, and where does all of that fall on his schedule? He's trying to work it out. But again, that old adage is true. When you're trying to please everyone, you ultimately end up pleasing no one. And that, of course, includes yourself. Because again, now you're judging you because you're not fulfilling what everybody else wants and you're not fulfilling what you want. So you're falling short in every area. And what is that doing for you in your life? Again, stress. So when you're living on their terms, it's a never-ending battle. So rather than feeling like this, like you can do anything, like you're taking care of everybody, you're balancing your job, you can just do it all, you normally end up feeling like this. Like it's never going to end. You're never going to get it up there. I'm not sure I should say that, but never going to get things right. You're never going to complete them because nobody's ever happy. It's a constant struggle for you. So when you're trying to make them happy, you end up canceling your plans, or you don't even make plans for you. Your whole life and your whole schedule revolves around everybody else and their plans and what they would want and what they want to do. You're always rearranging your schedule to fit that so that you never have time to schedule things for you. There's no room left. It's always about everybody else's schedule. You end up giving up your hobbies because you never know when you're going to have time to do anything, so you don't even try. You give up your friends. You don't set time aside for them. You don't set that time aside to even make friends. People wonder what happened to you. I used to know that woman. Where did she go? I've been there. I've had other friends who've been there. And so I would like to say, maybe you don't want to go there. And you give up taking care of you. That's usually the first thing we end up giving up is our self-care. We end up going to the gym. We give up going to the gym. We give up going for walks. We give up meditation. We give up all those things that we used to do to take care of ourselves, that we used to do that were so important to us when we thought that we had time, because now we believe we have no time for us, that we only have time for everybody else. So, what do you do about that? Are you ready to start claiming your life for you? And I hope everybody says, yes, I am ready. So you start asking yourself some questions. If I was truly living my life for me, what would I do right now? Would you be like that guy? Would you finally feel that freedom? So ask that question. If I was truly living my life for me, what would I do right now? And then start really listening to what comes to you. Listen to what the universe or God or source or whatever you call that has to tell you, or even what your subconscious has to tell you. What would you really like to be doing now? What is it that would make your life fun? What is it that would make you feel more fulfilled? Listen for those little trickles of things to come to you. And once you get some of those, then say, okay, how do I get there? And again, listen. Because those things are going to start coming in too, those steps that you can take, those areas where it's time to change, those things that you are making up that aren't really true about the things that you have to do for other people. Listen to how you can get to what you would like to have in your life. Listen. And then you have to ask yourself, am I actually willing to make those changes? And be honest with yourself. Are you willing to make some changes in your life? Are you willing to take those steps that may not be as popular as you might hope in order to start reclaiming your life? And one of those changes that you might have to make is the mindset on serving others. And, sometimes that's a tough one. I know during my life, I was taught all these things about serving others because, I did go to church when I was a child. And a lot of the thing was about how you need to serve others and how important that was. So were you taught, like I was, that the highest calling is being in service to others? That's the best thing that you can ever do with your life, is to be in service to everyone else? Were you taught that giving is better than receiving? Yeah, but once you give and give and give and give and you don't receive, what does that leave you with? How much can you give before there's nothing left to give? So start thinking about that. And then there's that other one, that you have no purpose if you aren't serving others. So many times when I was in church, it was like, well, if you're not going to have one of these things where you're going to be serving others, then what's your purpose? And it's like, well, a lot of people here aren't serving others as their major profession. So obviously they have a purpose. But the judgment of not being willing to do these three things was big. So I thought, okay, as a very, because originally as a child I wanted to be an astronaut, or I wanted to heal people with my hands. Well, at least that second one was acceptable because it was serving others. So I thought, well, maybe I need to be in the Peace Corps. Well, that didn't really necessarily ring true for me either. So I had to start considering, even as a kid, whether all of these were really true for me. So are you willing to start changing that mindset that you may have grown up with your entire life? So start considering, does all that worrying and doting on everybody else that you're doing actually help them? What is it actually creating in their lives? Is it creating that, yes, that helps them along so that they can continue moving forward? Or is that actually robbing them of learning how to care for themselves? Does it keep them from learning self-sufficiency? Is it keep them constantly dependent on you? Now, maybe that's what you're looking for, is to have somebody dependent on you. So that's another thing that you have to consider. What is your actual motivation behind doing all that? Is all of that stuff actually required for you to do, or are you just assuming? Are you making it up that they require all of that from you? A lot of times we tend to do that. Oh, obviously they need me to do this for them because they're having a difficulty here. Well, is that true? Are they actually having a difficulty, or are they stepping aside because they know that you'll step in and do it for them? Well, that works really well for them, but is that really working out for you? A lot of times, not so much. Are you looking for someone to fix or to rescue? Like I said, are you assuming that they need that, or are you doing it because you want to fix or rescue them? You want to fix their lives. You want to be in there, the person who, can zoom in on with your, cape and tiara. And John Mark, I'm sorry, you probably don't have a tiara, and if you do, maybe we don't need to know that. But, are you willing to be that? Are you looking to be that superhero who jumps in there and says, oh, I can fix this for you. I can do it for you. I can take care of it? Is that your actual motivation behind doing all that? And is it that you really want to keep doing that? And what is it doing for them and to them? Again, are they actually learning from that to expect you to always be there to do it for them? Or are they learning to take care of themselves because they're learning it from you? That's another thing. But so often it's that, oh, you'll always be there to do it for me, so I don't need to do it myself. I don't know if you've ever had anybody say, well, you ask them to do something and they'll say, oh, you can do it so much better than I can. Yeah. I'm really going to buy into that. Because what are they trying to do? That's a manipulation, obviously. So if you want them to manipulate you, fine, but start looking at the motivation behind these things and what it's creating for them and what it's creating for you. Okay, maybe you're getting out of it that you're there to rescue them and that makes you the hero. But is that really what you would like to have in your life? And really, is it really what you would like to have for them? Maybe, maybe not. Normally for your kids, I would think you would like them to be able to be self-sufficient. You would like them to learn how to deal with life on their own and on their own terms. And so you can just guide them. You don't have to do it for them. So what about, would it be better to assist and guide rather than do it for them? Assist them to do it. Guide them to do it. You can just lend a hand. You don't have to do it for them. Offer other avenues to them. When my mother-in-law was ill and couldn't drive anymore, I was initially doing everything. I was taking her everywhere. I was taking her to the doctor and I was taking her shopping and doing all of her errands and going down and getting her and taking her places and taking her back home and all of these things. And I didn't have any time for me. It was really starting to wear on me. So I started looking for other avenues of doing this. And what I came up with was there were some things that it didn't really require me to do them. So yes, I was still caring for her. I was still caring, but I got another avenue, like for the running some of her errands and things. We got the store to deliver. That worked out great. You just call them and it shows up. I got her another driver to take her to the things that didn't require me to be there. I still had to be there for her doctor's appointments because I had to be able to interpret for her what they were saying because she didn't always follow what they were talking about. But again, she could have somebody else take her to the grocery store or to go buy some clothes or to the drugstore or something else like that I didn't have to go. So I was there to care for her, but I wasn't carrying anymore. Because what we end up doing is we end up carrying their entire load, carrying their life. And that's not really what you want to do. At least it wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to constantly carry her. I wanted to care for her, but not carry her. So sometimes, yes, you do have to serve others. Like I had to be there to take her to the doctor because I had to be able to be with the doctor, and my husband couldn't take the time off, but I could. So when you have to be there for those things, sometimes you have to take care of other people and you have to serve them. But consider, what could you add to your life to make it enjoyable? And people start saying, oh my God, I can't add another thing. But what if adding something does actually work better than removing things? Because yes, granted, I removed myself from having to take her on some of the errands, but I added that driver to our life. So that gave me a lot more time in things because now I didn't have to be there all the time. I wasn't always subject to her whims of when thought she needed to go somewhere. So when you're looking to add to your life, you can get that assistance. Like I said, I got the driver. You can start taking more breaks. Maybe you don't actually need to be there constantly or as much as you think you do. So you can give yourself a break. Say, I don't really need to be there for this particular thing. I can take some time off here for me to do what I need to do what I would like to do. So schedule those in for you even. Maybe you want to schedule 3 mornings a week that you go to the gym, or 3 mornings a week that you go sit on the beach and meditate. Schedule that stuff. Put it on your calendar and say, this is what I'm going to do for me because I deserve it and I require it. Relax. Give yourself permission to relax. And when I was in all of that and I, was not paying attention to this type of thing for myself, I got this in my Dove bar. You're invited to relax today. And I thought, yeah, if my Dove bar can give me permission to relax, maybe I could give myself permission to relax too. Because, hey, maybe it knows something I don't know. So yeah, make sure that you're scheduling for you. Make sure that you realize that you deserve time. You require time for you, for whatever those things are that are important to you. Whether it's, like Melanie said, put it on the calendar for Melanie time and play days. Exactly. Give yourself those times. Say, this is for me. Like I put on my calendar this week, time to spend with my husband. So I've got a 2-hour block there. Granted, I spend more time than that, but it's an afternoon that he's going to have the afternoon off as well. So I'm scheduling my afternoon to go with his. And my calendar actually says time with George. That's my husband's name. So maybe you need to do that, or time with my cat. Sometimes I like to just lay on the couch with the cat. I have 5, so that I have plenty of chances to lay on the couch with them. But, things like that. It's to give yourself permission to actually take time for you. And again, you can add those things to your life, even though you may think that there's no more time left in your life, you can still find time for you. And one of the other changes that you can look at is changing how you look at carrying other people's burdens. Now, you may not realize that you're taking on burdens for other people, and I get that. But most of the time you are, because when you're spending all this time taking care of other people, you're taking on their burdens as well. So do you feel like that, where you've got the weight of the entire world, or maybe several worlds, on your back? And why are you doing that? Are you trying to shoulder or carry their burdens for them? I've had a client that came in and said, well, I have to take all the stuff on for my kids. And I said, why do you have to take all the stuff on for your kids? Wouldn't it be better for you to assist them to learn how to deal with that stuff? If you take it from them, they'll never learn. She had never considered that point of view before. Are you trying to share their burden? Well, now you've both got it. How is that working out for you? Because a lot of times people bring these things back. Even though you've taken it for them, they bring it back. Are you trying to heal them? Those of us who do healing for people, a lot of times we take these things on because we think we can heal it for them. Well, now we've got it. And most of the time they bring it back because they never actually healed it for themselves. So again, now you both have it. That isn't necessarily your best option. So when you've got all that weight on your back, are you trying to shelter them, trying to protect them so that they aren't exposed to certain things? Is that really required, or would it be better that they're exposed to something so they learn how to deal with it themselves? Are you trying to validate them? And when you're validating someone, you're saying, oh, everything that you're doing is okay. But is that true? If you're just forcing it so that that validation is there, is it really working for them if you stop validating it? If you stop making them think it's okay, is it really okay? Maybe that behavior that they're exhibiting isn't really okay for other people, but you're trying to make them believe it is okay because that's what they're doing. Again, are you trying to fix them or fix their lives? Can you ever fix anybody else's life? Can you even, if you're trying to fix their lives, what does that do to your life? Because you're spending all that time, how many things are starting to go wrong in your life because you're dedicating all your energy to their life and to fixing their lives? And it just goes on and on and on about why you're doing this and what you're carrying for other people. So is it any wonder that, like this woman, your back and shoulders hurt? You've got all that weight of the world on you. It's no wonder. And does it really work anyway when you're taking their burdens on? Or now do you both have that burden to share? That you're both carrying that burden, because so often, as I said, they bring it right back. So now you have it and they have it and you both have it. And does that work for either one of you? So in order to start releasing other people's burdens, that you might want to do now and set yourself free instead of carrying those things, how much freer could you be if you let go of everybody else's stuff and only dealt with your own? One of the tools that I like to give people is called Who Does This Belong To? So when you have these things that show up, or these things that you actually even know maybe that you've taken on for other people, you can say, who does this belong to? And if you feel lighter after you ask that, then that thing isn't yours. So then what you can do with it is another tool called Return to Sender with consciousness attached. And people say, oh, I don't want to send it back to them. Well, you're sending it back out into the universe because it may not have been that person's original thing anyway. But also, if you send it back to them, they're going to learn to deal with it. But you're also sending that energy back out into the universe. And to the universe, it's just energy. Everything is energy. It's only when you start putting judgments on it that it becomes right or wrong. So you send that stuff back out into the universe. A return to sender with consciousness attached lets you break those bonds that you had tied yourself down with everybody else's stuff, so that you aren't carrying their stuff. You're not bound to their stuff anymore. And it works. You'd be amazed. I do this every day when I work with clients, because even though I know not to take their stuff on, sometimes I still do. And so I make sure that every time I work with them, I say return to sender, everything that's not mine here, with consciousness attached. And it releases me from all that stuff. And it will release you and set you free again, so you're no longer carrying that burden for them. And it's, when you look at these burdens, it's not just about the things that you've consciously taken on for people. It's not just about the things that you know that you've taken on for your kids or your family or your friends or whatever. You're actually like a big satellite dish. You're picking up everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions all the time. Even though you don't realize it, you're picking them up because that's just energy around you. So you're picking up on that energy that's around you from other people. And you think those things are yours because you're not familiar with the idea that they might not be yours. You think that obviously if I'm picking up on it, it must be mine, but they aren't. So return it. Just say return to sender with consciousness attached. Set yourself free of all that stuff. So you can use that whenever things pop into your head that just aren't usual for you. You may be going along and some weird thought comes into your head, like, where did that come from? I have that surprisingly, well, probably not surprisingly for a lot of people, but I have that a lot, that these things just pop into my head and it's like, well, where did that come from? So I usually go, is this mine? And if it's not, then I return it to sender. Or you get something that feels really heavy. Sometimes you can walk into a room and you just get this heaviness because somebody else in the room has this thing going on, whether they've got depression or they've had an argument or something, and that heaviness is still in the room. So you feel it when you walk into the room, and you can say, oh, well, is this mine? And probably it's not. So again, you can return it to sender. Or you just want some space. And like I said, I a lot of times I have a very busy head. Things are buzzing around in there all the time. And so I start asking, especially when it gets really, really crowded in there, and I'll say, is this stuff actually mine? And most of it isn't. I'm picking it up from other people. So when I want to get a little space, I'll say, let me just return all this stuff to sender that I'm picking up that isn't mine. So I use the return to sender with consciousness attached. So changes. Living your life for you is going to require you to make some changes. You're probably not used to doing it, even because you've spent so much time living your life for everybody else and spending your time dedicated to everybody else's needs and wants and desires. So are you willing to start making those changes that are required to reclaim your life for you? Are you willing to do that for you? Because you're worth it. You may not think that you're worth it. You may not think that you're enough. You may not think you're deserving, but you are. You're worth it. So are you ready for that? Are you ready to do those things that may not be comfortable, may not be popular? Because a lot of times people get upset that, wait a minute, you always did this for me. Why aren't you going to do it anymore? Why are you being selfish? It may look selfish to them, but to you, it's what you require in order to take care of you. And you're important. Again, you're worth it. So are you ready to start making those changes? Are you ready to reclaim your life? Schedule time for you. Know that you're worth it. Know that it's necessary that you take care of you and put you first sometimes. Reclaim your life. Are you ready to start adding changes and choices that are for you, not for everybody else? They're the things that you desire and require. Start putting them into your life, adding them to your life, rearranging your life to make time for you. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to care for people but not carry them anymore? To recognize where you're doing that. To recognize that maybe that's what's not really that's not really what's required here. It's not what they require. It's not what I require. To know that you can care for them, you can assist them, you can guide them, you can show them other ways without doing everything for them and without being the superhero. Unless that's really what you want to do. But is that really, what is that really creating in your life when you're being the superhero, the go-to fix-it person? Are you ready to start using return to sender, and who does this belong to? You would be amazed because, like I've read that, over 90% of what goes on with you isn't really yours. You're picking up all this stuff from everything around you, and you're trying to act on it when it's not really even yours. So when you have that stuff that's not yours, you can't really take care of it because it isn't yours to begin with. It's somebody else's to take care of. So you waste a lot of time and energy trying to take care of it to no avail. So are you ready to start returning it to sender? And are you ready to start setting yourself free? Because that's what this stuff is going to do. It's going to free you up. It's going to free up your time. It's going to free up your body. It's going to give you time to take care of you, to start having that time that you've lost. I don't know if you even remember what that was like when you used to take care of you. Are you ready to set yourself free that you have, so you start creating a life that you would like to live? Because if you were happy with your life, would you actually be listening to this program to begin with? Probably not. There's something there that you know isn't working for you. So are you ready to make the changes that it would take to start making your life work for you? To start making it a contribution to you every day? So again, are you ready? Because now is the time to start doing it. Otherwise, you'll be in the same place next year that you are here now. And is that what you would really like to have? So thank you, everybody, for listening to me. And do you have any questions for me?
Well, Dawn, I can't believe how many nuggets I picked up along the way. And I know from working, with you and just meeting you at different events that you love the return to sender. And somehow I had forgotten the first piece of, does this belong to me? And so often I think, especially as women, but just as entrepreneurs, we tend to take on, so much stuff that's not ours, and it burdens us and blocks us from doing the things that we need to do. So thank you for reminding me of that little nugget there.
What happens is that we think we have to take care of everybody. And then we take on that stuff for everybody. Like I said, I had my one client who said, well, of course I have to take everything on for my kids. And I said, where did that come from? Is that something you were told when you were a little kid, that, you have to take everything on for your family, that you have to always do everything for them? And what's that creating in your children's lives? Another friend of mine, all throughout her children growing up, she did everything for them. So then when they got to college, they couldn't do anything for themselves. They ended up dropping out of college because they couldn't actually do their own assignments themselves because she always did them for them. So again, it's like you're doing all that stuff for everybody because you're making that up that that's yours to do, instead of realizing it's not yours. And, then you take the stuff on for them, like all these people will take things on about trying to fix things for everybody, trying to take on their stress because they don't want them to be stressed. And is that really actually even doing anything for anybody? Because if they don't realize that they're stressed because you've taken it for them, they're going to bring it back because they didn't learn any way to let go of it to begin with. So now you've got their stress and they have their stress. That's really not your best option.
Yep.
So
there's a thing from Jean-Marc here that he does use return to sender, but that sometimes he still has that heavy energy kind of left behind, and wanted to know if you had any recommendations for what if the return to sender is not returning it to the sender, I guess.
Well, there are some other tools that I have. One is called an Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And it's going to sound a little odd. It's called Right, Wrong, Good, Bad, Pod, Poc, All Nine Shorts, Boys, and Beyonds. And I can give you a website on how to find it so you can read up about it. But what that does is that you start asking other questions about that. Okay, if this is still hanging on, then where did I buy it that it was actually mine, so I can't let go of it? So then you can do the clearing statement, which says, everywhere I bought into that as mine, I now destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And then everything that I created or chose based on that being mine, again, I destroy and uncreate all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Because so often we just assume that if something's there, it must be ours. And obviously we can't let go of it because we created it, right? Sure. You can buy into that, but is it real? Most of the time, no, it's not real. It's not that you created it. You took it on because someone told you you had to. You took it on because somebody else did it and they believed that it was the thing that they had to do. So now you've got it too, and it's not yours. And so then you think you can never let go of it and never change it. So try those things and see if it lightens up. And if not, send me an email and we'll see where we can go with it. I know
Yeah, and I
Vicki.
know, Dawn, I get your weekly clearing statements, and it always seems, and I know you hear this all the time, like whatever you send that Monday, it was like, that's totally what I needed to hear and clear this week. Thank you. And so
Right.
that's such an asset to get that every Monday.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate knowing how much that helps people. And yes, I do hear that all the time. That that people, they open it up and they read it and it's like, were you in my mind? I said, well, maybe I was
Yeah.
in your head when I wrote it. But it's amazing how much all of us have that collective consciousness. So it tends to hit on something for everybody when I send out those statements, because they're things that I've tapped into either for myself or for my clients or my friends or something, that those topics came up. And so that's what's out there. Like the one this week was, are you waiting for the key? And I don't know how many emails I received after I sent that out where everybody's sending me the key to something, you know, the key to my business, the key to entrepreneurship, the key to life, the key to this. I've got like 7 or 8 of them just since I sent it out yesterday that are the key to, and one of them said the key to everything. And I thought, huh, interesting. Okay, well, obviously that is a big topic for everybody, that they're looking for the key outside themselves rather than looking within. So I see Jean-Marc said, I actually got confirmation of what I was perceiving. I just don't know how to read it in the message I was receiving. Okay, works well most of the time. And it does. I mean, once in a while you'll get things that are stuck, but just keep at it, because sometimes we let go of a few layers of it and return some layers, but we aren't ready to let go of the rest of it for whatever reason. So then just come back later. It's like, okay, if it's still here, what is it I'm not willing to change about this? Or what do I believe I can't change about this? And go from there. Because a lot of times we get stuck in thinking that we can't change it or we shouldn't change it, which is always another interesting one, is, oh, I shouldn't change that, because if I change it, then what's that going to create in my life? Instead of just being willing to say, it has to be better to let go of that stuff that's keeping me stuck wherever it takes me. But a lot of people have that fear of making changes, so they're not willing to make those changes. So let me type in, I think this is the URL to the clearing statement. I'm afraid to bring it up now for fear it'll disconnect me on, on this.
Yeah, these webinars take a lot of internet power.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if that's not the
And
right one, just email me and let me know, and I
yeah,
will
and then
email you the correct one. But IamPurpleDawn.com is my website, so you can always get to it when you go to the weekly clearing statements.
Dawn, share with us a little bit about the ebook offer that you have here for the questions to change your life.
Yeah, and I think you've got that under offers.
Yep.
So what I have is an ebook that has some of the questions that I ask when I'm looking at, what's not working here and how do I change it? And I can start asking these questions that are in my ebook. And it gives you, those tools to start using to start unlocking those things that aren't working in your life. So I think it's 5 in that book. I originally had 15. I thought that was a little much. So I cut it back down to 5. But so for you to start asking those questions when you come up against things like the things, like you said, Jean-Marc, that don't move, that don't change when you say you want to return them to sender, start asking the other questions and see what it is that's actually holding that in place and making you think you can't let go of it. And then I've also got in there at the end of the book I'm going to spoil the end for you. Spoilers. I've got my meditation recordings that you can go out and get. And I've also got a special if you want to do a discovery session with me. It's usually $75, and I've got it. You can get it for $47. And we can see what we can change.
Yeah, and that's a deal. I have to share. I was having a lot of hip pain, and I was going to an acupuncturist, and she was like, your body is like not balanced. And so I actually did a session with Dawn, and we did some clearing statements as part of it, and, letting go of some stuff. And I didn't even know what all I was letting go of at the time. And really it brought my body into alignment. So the stuff that you're teaching, Dawn, is so powerful. It seems so simple, and yet it's so powerful in like healing ourselves and really living our lives for ourselves and saying, I'm going to take care of me, because if I'm taking care of me, that allows me to actually serve better.
Right. Because you, again, like they always say, you can't serve from an empty cup. So if you've gone ahead and given all of you away, all of your energy, not allowed yourself to receive anything from anyone else, so that now you're empty, you can't serve anybody else, because there's nothing left for you. Whereas if you allow yourself to start receiving from others, and even receiving from yourself, taking care of you, it can be really amazing. And when you talked about you didn't even know what you were letting go of, that's the nice thing about this, is you don't have to know. You don't have to know what it is. You don't have to talk through it. You don't have to try and figure it out, because so often we hang on to things even tighter when we're trying to figure them out.
Yeah.
Because we think we can't let go of it unless we figure it out. Well, is that really true? Or can you just let it go now? And then that frees up all that energy. And like you said with your hip, we just did a few clearing statements. I did some energy work on you to get that stuff moving, and it helped you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so, it can work on physical pain. It can work on mental and emotional things. I've had people come in that they were so upset because they had dedicated their lives to their children, and now their kids moved out and they were lost. It's like, okay, well, now we start going back to reclaiming your life for you. You spent all that time living their lives. Now you've got to live your life and find out what that life really is now, because you forgot. So it can be, all sorts of things that it can help with. And that's the cool part about it.
Yep. So true. Well, I thank you so much for sharing with us today, Dawn. This was really powerful. And I know this is something I'm going to go back and listen to when I feel stuck and be like, let me remind myself of the power I have to say, is this mine?
Right.
It's return to sender with consciousness.
And that you can give yourself permission to take care of you.
Yes.
That's the most important thing, is you can give yourself permission, and it's okay.
Yep.
It's not a wrong thing. Well, thank you so much, Vicki. It has been great. And I just love sharing things with everybody. And if anybody else has any questions for me, you can go out to iampurpledawn.com and send me a question. You can go up and sign up for my weekly clearing statements. You can get my ebooks, all that stuff. So awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. We will
yes, thank you, everybody.
In August. Have a great July, everybody. Bye.
Bye.